Welcome everybody, my name is Jenny Johnson and this is my first video on YouTube as a booktuber. I have been on YouTube before and I had a small following when I was homesteading and farming, but a lot of things have changed in my life over the last several years. I actually went through a divorce, I went through a huge downscaling on our farm, and I'm now remarried. And I really miss the YouTube community. I miss making videos, I think it's fun, and I am such an avid reader that I felt it wouldn't matter what was going on in my life, it wouldn't change my channel, and I want to do the new booktuber tag. So let's get into it. Okay, the number one question is, what are you going to bring to YouTube? And I think that I have a very unique reading range. I am a Christian and a mother and a wife, and I do read books like that a lot. My number one book, we'll get into that later, is the Bible, but yeah, I also love mystery and I love classics. So I have a little bit different perspective than a lot of booktubers. They seem to just do book reviews on current books like bestsellers and all that stuff. So I like to read a wide range. I actually buy books from even Dollar Tree and I try them out to see if I like the author, and I've been surprised by a lot of the things that I've read. So yeah, that is the question number one. Question two is, who am I for? So if you love rom-coms but you don't like spicy stuff, I'm your girl. I love books that are about love. We'll get into it later, but I'm a definite Jane Austen fan. I love romance, comedy, rom-coms, but I don't like the spice. And if it has a tiny bit of spice, I can overlook it, but you'll never see me reading 50 Shades of Grey here, or any kind of of those old 80s books that our mothers used to read, those romances that were super, super spicy. I'm not like that. So I am for someone who loves easy, fun little reads, but also really likes to delve into classics, mysteries, and stuff like that. I'm not much of a fantasy person, but I am trying to try it out to see if I might like it, which I will be showing you in the future reviews that I do and books that I am looking at. And then the third question is, why do you love reading? So I love reading because I actually like to learn. I love to learn, and I think that books are the gateway to that. You can read a book from a perspective that you have no idea about. For instance, a Black inner city perspective would have nothing to do with my country, mostly white upbringing, right? So I like to read books that broaden my view on life. And I also love to just get lost in books and kind of escape from, the everyday mundane or the hustle and bustle, and just read a nice easy book. So I'm definitely a mood reader. Sometimes I really just need a cute little rom-com, and then other times I'm ready to learn something really intense and I'll pick up a theology book. And then other times I just want to, I want to be kind of challenged. And so yeah, it just depends. And let's see, number 4, what are my favorite books? Okay, so like I said, my favorite book of all time is always going to be the Bible. It is so amazing. It doesn't have fantasy in it, but it does have almost everything else. And I also love to just learn about the Lord and his character and how that affects my life. And it's just the most life-breathing, life-changing book that's ever been written. So that's definitely number 1. Second is probably this book right here, To Kill a Mockingbird, which I picked this up from a thrift store. It used to be a library book, and it's definitely falling apart. This particular print is from the 60s, so it's an old book. It smells like an old musty book, and I love it. I read this every couple of years probably. I've probably read this the first time I was a freshman in high school when I read this, and as an adult I've probably read this 5 or 6 more times. So I definitely love To Kill a Mockingbird. It's got all of it in there. You learn about a perspective. You're looking at it through Scout, who is a child, her perspective on life. It is just amazing, and I love that book so much. I also am a huge fan of all Jane Austen, of course. I love it. These are like the cozy reads, like if I just want to fall into something that's familiar and I just want to read, maybe I'm in a reading slump, or I just want to feel like, I don't know, like she's so good at writing character and making you laugh and learn something, and she's very much like, I don't know, she's a great writer. And this copy is her whole collection, and I think I got this from Barnes & Noble. Yeah. It was several years ago, so I have all, 7 of her novels in there, and I love it. I am about halfway through this one, which is C.S. Lewis's Mere Christianity. It is an amazing book. I also love Alexander Dumas and The Three Musketeers. So I think that his way of sentence structuring is like phenomenal. It's like so impressive, the grammar from classics versus today. And I have it right here. I'm currently reading this one as well. It's Kathy Reich's The Bone Code. This is book 20, and this is the 20th book I've read of hers. I think there's 3 more novels and 3 or 4 novellas in her series of the Tempest Brennan. So I do love these. These are my comfort mystery books. They're very like intelligent. Like the author actually was a forensic anthropologist, so she's got tons of really cool like stories. I love science. I love the medical field. I love mysteries, so it basically has everything. If you've ever watched the show Bones, that show is based on her book series. So if you like that, you would love that as well. Okay, so it said, the next question is, when did you start reading? And I remember very, very like vividly, probably in like 1st grade, when you're first learning how to read, maybe it was 2nd grade, I finally read Green Eggs and Ham by Dr. Seuss all by myself, and I was so proud of myself for reading it. I started to really fall in love with reading then. And of course that escalated into like all kinds of different books. I remember loving Amelia Bedelia and just thinking that was so hilarious and fun, and those are like very small like readers. And then that kind of graduated into like the Babysitter's Club, and I remember there was a book called The Phantom Phone Call, Claudia and the Phantom Phone Call. I'm almost 100% sure that's what it was called. It scared the bejesus out of me, but I loved the book, and that also broke me into reading Nancy Drew books. So I probably read 33 of these books. I know there's more. This is the very first one, The Secret Old Clock, and unfortunately I got rid of my collection when I became an adult, and I just didn't have the foresight to realize I should have saved those for my kiddos and my grandkids. But I did find this like book 1 in the bookstore one time, like a used bookstore. My girls just didn't really get into it, so I didn't pursue buying the rest of the books in that series, but I still have number 1, and I remember this book. I should read it again because it will probably like really bring back memories. But yeah, so I got into Nancy Drew. That went into Goosebumps, that went into R.L. Stine, that went into Dean Koontz. I was reading Dean Koontz when I was in like 7th grade. So I really love mysteries and like thrillers. That's probably like where I have mostly like lived. And then as I've grown, I've really fallen in love with classics. I mean, who doesn't love the Chronicles of Narnia? I never read them as a kid, but my kids have all read them. We love the movies. So yeah, that's kind of like the history of how I started reading. The next one is favorite genres. That I've already said. I definitely love like mystery thrillers, true crime based type of things. I do love biographies, especially autobiographies, and I love classics, like all of the classics mostly. I will say that there's a few that are super popular I don't really like. And I will get into that in different videos, like my favorites and my worst for classics. Okay, and the next thing is a bookshelf tour. So if you will please come with me and look at my bookshelves. I will say I have probably purged my bookshelves like 3 or 4 times in the last 6 years and taken boxes and boxes of books to donation. And a lot of that is because we homeschooled for so long. I had a ton of kid books. They didn't want to read them ever again. We kept our favorites, and then it's kind of down. I'm just going to show you basically my books. So, and some of them are missing because, like I said, the Three Musketeers I love, but I let my son borrow it. I'm not sure where he put it. It might be at his dad's house. So I don't have that one, and I know there's probably other missing ones. So let's just get into what I have. This is basically my collection, and I literally just purged all my books. I want to say like 2 weeks ago, and I still have a couple boxes that I need to give to Goodwill. So take that in mind. I don't keep books for a super long time. If I know I'm not going to read them, or I'm not going to need them as a reference, then I usually part with them so somebody else can enjoy them. Okay, in true book fashion, our cat Molly here is going to be sitting on the bookshelf. Okay, up here I've got my library books for the week and 2 books that I'm working on. These are books I want to read this fall. I kind of pulled out some things that I thought were kind of spooky or different. I have never read fantasy, which this one kind of is, I guess. So I'm trying that out. I picked that up from Target. Down here, I've got books I have not read yet. All of these books, let me see. Yes, all of these books on this shelf are from the Dollar Tree, and I want to try them out. This one is like a Christmas one, so I'm going to hold off on that one for a little bit. These are books I've read so far, most of them this month, and I want to do reviews on them, so I have them here like waiting for that, and that is bookshelf number 1. I just realized Beach Read should be down there as well. Okay, bookshelf number 2. This is the bookshelf. This is mostly classics up here. I have read most of these. I have not read this one yet, and I haven't finished the Sherlock Holmes one. But yep, this is it. This is a very old copy of Aesop's Fables. This is mostly my fiction shelf, and I have picked up some books here at a used bookstore that I haven't read yet. So as you might notice, I have 2 copies of this by accident, and I haven't even read it yet. This is mostly like a Christian living bookshelf. So that's what that is. This is mostly reference. Of course, I have a couple larger books. The Shakespeare book didn't really fit anywhere else, although that would definitely be classic. And mostly it's just like reference. And then down there, I've got a bunch of records, a wedding album, and some CDs. All right, y'all, thanks for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope that we can be like a little bit like friends, and that you find something here that resonates with you, and different reviews that I'll do, different book hauls that I'll do. I'm looking forward to it. I really enjoy it. You can also follow me on Instagram at Jen, Jenn, J Reads. So if you want to follow me on there, you can too. And I will periodically be putting shorts on here, like little mini book hauls or whatever like that. So I hope you have a great day. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.